The Unseen Path, a story about life's journey. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between two towering mountains, there lived a young man named Kai. The village was peaceful and picturesque, filled with lush greenery, rolling hills, and the gentle hum of life's daily rhythms. The people were content with their simple lives, and the seasons passed without much change. But Kai was different. He always felt a deep restlessness in his soul, a yearning for something beyond the familiar confines of his village. He was haunted by questions that others seemed not to think about. What is the purpose of life? What lies beyond these mountains? From a young age, Kai had heard stories about the great unknown, a place beyond the village where people embarked on journeys to discover their purpose, to find themselves, and to understand the meaning of life. These stories both excited and terrified him. Many who had ventured beyond the mountains never returned, while others came back changed, filled with wisdom, but also with scars. Still, the pull of the unknown was too strong to ignore. One crisp morning, as the sun painted the sky with hues of gold, Kai made up his mind. He packed a small bag of essentials and set out toward the towering mountains, leaving behind the village he had always known. The path ahead was uncertain, but he knew in his heart that this journey was necessary. The beginning of the journey, embracing uncertainty. As Kai climbed the first mountain, he was filled with excitement. The air was fresh, the scenery was breathtaking, and the thrill of adventure pulsed through his veins. He imagined that his journey would lead him to instant revelations, that perhaps, after a few days of wandering, the answers to life's great questions would present themselves to him. But as the days turned into weeks, Kai's excitement began to wane. The path became steeper, the weather harsher, and the solitude overwhelming. He encountered challenges he hadn't anticipated, thick forests that seemed endless, treacherous rivers he had to cross, and bitter cold that gnawed at his bones. His initial optimism gave way to doubt. Why did I leave the comfort of the village? Was this journey even worth it? He wondered. One night, as Kai sat by a small fire, huddled in his cloak, he met an old traveler who was passing through the mountains. The traveler noticed the weariness in Kai's eyes and sat beside him. "Why do you look so troubled, young one?" the traveler asked, his voice gentle but knowing. "I set out on this journey to find the meaning of life," Kai replied. "But now, I'm not sure if I made the right decision. The path is difficult, and I feel lost." The traveler smiled. "Ah, the search for meaning. It is a journey that we all must take, though not everyone chooses to. The road will not be easy, but that is precisely the point. Life's answers are not found in comfort and ease. They are discovered in the challenges we face, the obstacles we overcome, and the persistence to keep going when we feel like giving up." Kai listened intently as the traveler continued, "Remember this, the journey itself is the answer. It's not about reaching some final destination where everything becomes clear. It's about how you grow, change, and evolve along the way. The struggles you face now will shape you into the person you are meant to become." With that, the traveler stood up, smiled warmly at Kai, and disappeared into the night, leaving Kai with a sense of clarity he hadn't felt before. The journey wasn't meant to be easy, and perhaps the uncertainty he was feeling was part of the process. The lessons along the way. Growth through struggle. As Kai continued his journey, he faced many more hardships. There were moments when he wanted to turn back, when the exhaustion and loneliness seemed unbearable. But each time, he remembered the words of the old traveler and pushed forward. One day, as Kai was walking through a dense forest, he encountered a wide river with a fast, powerful current. There was no way around it, and he knew he had to find a way to cross. Fear gripped him. What if he failed? What if he drowned in the attempt? But then he realized something. Fear had been with him throughout his entire journey, always whispering in the back of his mind. It wasn't the fear that was holding him back, but his belief that fear meant he wasn't ready or capable. So, Kai decided to confront his fear. He gathered all the strength he had, found a sturdy branch to use as support, and began wading into the river. The water was cold and forceful, but he focused on each step, refusing to let the current sweep him away. Slowly but surely, he made it to the other side. As he stood on the riverbank, drenched but triumphant, he felt a surge of pride and confidence. He had faced his fear and overcome it. It was in moments like these that Kai began to understand that the journey was not just about discovering life's purpose, but about discovering himself. The more challenges he faced, the more he realized how strong, resourceful, and resilient he truly was. The hardships were not obstacles in his path. They were the path. The mirror of others, discovering purpose through connection. As Kai ventured further, he began to meet other travelers, each on their own journey. Some were searching for similar answers, while others were simply wandering, unsure of what they were looking for. Kai learned something valuable from each person he encountered. One traveler, a woman named Era, was particularly memorable. Ira had been on the road for many years, and though she had faced more than her share of struggles, she radiated peace and contentment. Intrigued, Kai asked her, "How is it that you seem so calm and centered, even after all you've been through?" Era smiled. "Because I learned something important along the way. I stopped searching for a grand, singular purpose to life, and instead focused on the purpose I could create in each moment. Life is not about finding a single answer that explains everything. It's about the impact we have on others, the kindness we show, and the love we give. When you focus on these things, purpose naturally unfolds." Kai reflected on her words. Up until that point, he had been so focused on finding some monumental answer to life's meaning that he hadn't considered the smaller, everyday moments. He began to understand that purpose wasn't necessarily about achieving something great or reaching a specific destination. It was about how he lived each day, how he treated the people he encountered, and how he responded to the challenges life presented. The summit. A new perspective. Finally, after many months of traveling, Kai reached the summit of the second mountain. The climb had been arduous, but as he stood at the top, looking out over the vast landscape below, he felt a deep sense of peace. From this vantage point, he could see the village he had left behind, as well as the countless paths and trails he had taken to reach this point. Each step, each challenge, and each lesson had brought him here. In that moment, Kai realized something profound. The journey itself was the answer. Life didn't come with a map or a set of instructions. It wasn't about reaching a specific goal or acquiring a certain amount of knowledge. It was about the experiences, the people, and the growth that happened along the way. As Kai stood there, he understood that the purpose of life wasn't something to be found. It was something to be lived. It was in the moments of struggle, the connections with others, and the courage to keep moving forward, even when the path was unclear. Life was about the journey, not the destination. Returning home. Sharing the wisdom. Kai eventually returned to his village, changed in ways that were both subtle and profound. He had left as a young man filled with questions, and he returned with a heart full of understanding. He no longer felt the restlessness that had once plagued him. Instead, he felt a deep sense of contentment, knowing that life was not about finding one ultimate answer, but about embracing the journey, the growth, and the meaning created along the way. The villagers noticed the change in Kai. He no longer seemed distracted or anxious about the future. Instead, he lived each day with purpose, kindness, and an appreciation for the present moment. And though he never claimed to have found the secret to life, his presence inspired others to embark on their own journeys of self-discovery. Kai had learned that life's greatest wisdom doesn't come from reaching the summit, but from the steps we take to get there. Life is short, unpredictable, and often challenging, but it is also rich with meaning, growth, and connection. And so, Kai's story became a reminder to everyone that in life, the journey is the destination. The meaning of life is not something you find at the end, but something you create along the way. Moral of the story: life is not about seeking a grand, final answer. It's about embracing the journey, growing through challenges, and living each day with purpose, kindness, and love.